Good evening and good evening and welcome to the February 2024 meeting of the Community Service Committee of the Common Council. With us tonight, we have Council Person Sutton, Council Person Smith, Council Person Murray, Council Person Wiggins, Council Person Dunn, and also Council Person Lopez, who is not on the committee but is joining us. Is there anybody? Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Can I have a motion?
Sorry,
Thank you,
guys.
Barb.
Can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes,
Nicole.
Melissa.
There was just a couple of misspellings of my name in the minutes. It was spelled Murphy, M-U-R-P-H-Y, instead of Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y. And that occurred twice, once where there was a mention of the minutes, and once in the last paragraph.
Okay, and let that be noted that there needs to be a correction of Council Person Melissa Murray, not Murphy's name. Barbara?
I will also add a misspelling. My name is misspelled in at least two places where I saw it. It's spelled with an I instead of a Y.
Okay, let the record also reflect that Council Person Barbara Smith's name needs to be corrected in the January 2024 meetings. Any other corrections? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. 2, 3. Mr. Wiggins and Ms. Dunn, are you voting for the accepting of the minutes?
I raised my hand.
You did, okay.
I did.
Okay, thank you. Councilperson Dunn?
Yes, mine's up, isn't it?
Nope, not on my screen, but okay, we'll take it as a voice vote. Okay, that is unanimously accepted. Chief Daniels, is there anybody here for public participation? Before you answer me, let me just make it noted for the record that if anyone is wishing to speak in public participation, they must only speak on items that are listed on the agenda. When they are notified, they need to raise their hand. They will be unmuted. They need to give their full name and their address.
Yes, Madam Chair, Diane Lauricella. I'll move her to speak. Ms. Lauricella, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Can I speak?
You may.
Okay, thank you. There's someone on, I guess on. Okay, for the record, there's someone on. Kids today. Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Chairperson Ayers, I didn't know if I was connected still. For the record, my name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. And I thank you for providing Zoom abilities. Although I very much would hope one day we'll be able to use video so you can see my face and see how sincere I am when I speak. But anyway, for the record, I wanted to just speak to the item on the agenda that I found on operating budget. I guess you will be going over the operating budget for the community services, all the wonderful things that community services team do. But I wanted just to state for the record, I could not find a copy of the operating budget, and this has been going on for over a week. I know that people that I see on the Zoom call and the staff do care about transparency, and it is highly unusual that the Finance Committee does not provide the public with the current operating budget or the capital budget, but we're here tonight to talk about the operating budget. So it makes it extremely difficult for me to see which departments under the community services group, what they've been asking for, what they're not asking for, revenues as well as expenses. It makes it exceedingly difficult. Tonight, I wanted just to mention that I do feel it's quite important, no matter what, even though I've not seen the operating budget, but I follow operating budget for the last 20 plus years. The health department, and I have had a discussion more than once with the health director, that I feel it's very important that Deanna Diamore and her staff have access to on-call environmental health experts. The city of Norwalk has an impressive list of environmental consulting firms. The type of experts that the health department, in my professional opinion, needs to call upon only when they need it, so that you don't need a full-time staff person, is the following. And again, I have professional background in this, so please mark my words. Drinking water. Currently, we have issues with our public drinking water due to levels of man-made chemicals that have been found in both of the public drinking water, as well as we don't even know what might be in private drinking water wells. And it would be exceedingly beneficial to Deanna Diamore, her staff, and the city, and you council people, in my opinion, if she could have access to those professionals instead of mostly just listening to the water company experts talking to her. I do not expect our health director to be a hydrogeologist, nor a toxicologist, nor a civil engineer to understand how the water utilities utilize well water versus reservoir water, but it is extremely important to protect the health of the public for her to have access to the right kinds of experts. So I ask, if it isn't a line item on this budget, it needs to be, and that is a cache of money for expertise for drinking water and for toxic waste sites that we do still have in this city. Yet I do not see the health department taking as active a role as I know they should or could. So that's in light of the fact that I cannot see the budget, I really can't comment on the rest of it yet, but I do hope, and I do ask this council committee, especially the incumbents who I see, and those that have been on the council a long time, can you please ask the mayor's office, Mr. Livingston, and our finance office to place both budgets on the city website for the public to view, since it is a budget where we pay taxes into. Thank you very much. And have a nice evening.
You're on mute, Nicole.
Just a talking. Thank you, Ms. Lorachella. Are there any other persons for public participation?
Madam Chair, I do not see any other participants asking to speak for public comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we will close public participation at this time. Please allow the record to reflect at 7:10, Councilperson Jalen Seed did join the meeting. Okay, I think the next thing on the agenda is you, Chief.
Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. So good evening, everyone. In talking with Chair Ayers, she asked if I would provide an overview of our recommended or requested budget for fiscal year 25. Before I begin to share, I just want to share that this is a working budget. We're still working through it. I'm still negotiating and working with the budget team here in Mayor Rowland's office, but hopefully that this can at least give you kind of where we are. It's very lengthy, so what I did is to share kind of the line items as it is documented in the budget. So the budget items that I will be speaking to are the specific line items. But I do have my larger document with me that is the side of the screen. So if you have any clarifying questions, if you allow me to refer to this larger document that my office and my team has been working with. I would gladly be able to respond to any specific questions. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Great. So,
Yeah.
so again, this is the Community Services recommended operating budget. And so a presentation for you all. You already know who we are, so I'll move quickly through this page. And our vision, again, just like to start off that we envision a community where all residents have access to knowledge and information about programs and resources and the ability to access them so they can reach their full potential in life. Our specific mission here in the city of Norwalk is to increase and sustain the social well-being and health of all Norwalk residents. We provide oversight and administrative support to departments. We work to unify initiatives and programs that directly affect the social well-being and health of the residents of Norwalk and support the quality of life in Norwalk through the lifespan. So again, this is the org chart. This org chart was redesigned when we had our efficiency study last year, 2 years ago, February 2022, and we have since adopted this org chart. So our recommended budget, and these are the divisions, again, at the budget has been broken up into. So early childhood, so for this year, we have requested $91,288. And I'll make reference to this, and what this includes is wages, salaries. There is a matching requirement that the city has to commit to, and this is Mary Oster's office, as most of you may know. And what this budget is, and which is kind of standard, if you may not be aware, it's the salary. We do have a training item. There are computers and software items that encompasses in just about every budget. Sometimes if we have opportunity to ask for some training dollars, specifically for fair rent, we want to do that to make sure our fair rent officer is fully aware of the current rules and regulations around fair rent, et cetera. So again, I'll speak to it in broad terms, but after I finish the presentation, happy to respond to any specific questions. And so the 91,000 is consistent what we did last year. So most of our line items, I'll give you the big, response. We have not requested or have significant increases, and the increases that we do have, I will share that as well. Again, our fair rent office, this consists of our fair rent officer and our ADA specialist, and we have a part-time legal attorney that we have on staff, and that's about $30,000. And so this also includes wages, salaries, and benefits as well. And again, as I pointed out, training, mileage, telephone, computer equipment, and technology and updates, so forth, for the fair rent office. And then our human services department, this consists of the human services director and a portion of our family navigation program. So cell phones, equipment, again, for laptops and computers and training and so forth. And this is the requested budget item. And again, these three budgets that you see before you, they're not significant increases. Again, I'll talk about it at the end. Most of the increases are often contractual, so we have not requested any significant increases in these departments, but we'll talk about that some more again. Our next piece is Norwalk Youth Services. That consists of the entire Youth Services department based on their salaries, again, equipment, training, mileage, telephone reimbursements, and the like. And as most of you are familiar with the variety of programs that we serve in the Norwalk Youth Services. And then the Norwalk Health Department, based on the budget, there is broken up into these 7 items through the Health Administrative Office, our building maintenance, environmental health, weights and measures, community health, and the like. It's before you, and that totals to about $2.4 million is our budgeted request. We did ask for turning some of our part-time staff into full-time, but at the request of the budget, we've asked to be very lean this year, and so we have honored that lean, and so there's not a significant increase. Again, if anything increased, it's more around wages and salaries per contracts per union. Our Norwalk Library, which is our largest budget in community services, and about 4.2, and these are the breakdowns: library administration, which consists of library staff and our programs and all the variety of services that the City of Norwalk offers through our library services, both at Main and SoNo. But then for our budget process, both buildings in terms of maintenance are divided into two, and you can see to maintain those buildings, you'll see the difference. Also, we did request some additional staff, like an active service manager, but again, at the request of the budget and the mayor's office, we've asked it in lean, so we have not requested any new hires. And also in the library budget. And this includes the entire library. Again, I'm happy to, I have my line item, and if you have any specific questions, I can share that. And then lastly, you'll see on the left, contractual grants and line items. So the city has some contractual and some matching programs. Most of them predate me and some of them don't. And that changes from year to year. For example, for those of you who are familiar with the Head Start program that was once provided through the NEON program, that is now through the Connecticut Institute out of Danbury. So that's a federally funded program, but it required a $500,000 match in order for us to maintain that program here. And we know Head Start is one of those early learning programs to help many low-income children have not just a safe place for early learning, but also to help parents who to work and at low cost. Local Prevention Council, this is an obligation the city has honored, and I think I went before you all recently, I think it was last month, give them $90,000 per, oh, you know, I made there's a typo on my thing, sorry about that. It says Local Prevention Council Senior Center, take out the Senior Center part, but that's $90,000, so that's the annual, so that's actually a line item in the budget every year. We support the Local Prevention Council. Most people know it as the Norwalk Partnership, which is a combination of the substance abuse and drug abuse partnerships and committees that gone on, which also predates me. We also have a line item, Mayor Summer Youth, and most of these line items have been just consistent for years, so we have not requested any increase in these. Homeless prevention. I think it was around 75. Open Door is asking for an increase, so that is an increase about 15,000 for the homeless prevention program. The City of Norwalk, we actually purchase beds. So and you'll hear more about that next month. So I'm not going to go into it unless you want to hear more information today. But we have to start a new contract with them. So we'll be presenting. Open Door will be with us next month to talk about specifically what this program does. The Norwalk Senior Center. The City of Norwalk does not operate a municipally run senior center, but we have provided a grant and continue to provide a grant again for decades to the senior center, and that totals around $390,000. The senior center is asking for an increase. We're in our budgetary process, so a final decision has not been made, but that is the current allocation as you see here. And then small grant program. It was called the mini grant program, but we call it small grant program because it's funding, and we look at the needs. And so, you know, this past year it was the mini grant program. July 1, we may do something else different with that money, but it's money to, again, small amount as you can see. So we have to be creative and strategic of how to support some of the nonprofits that we have. We also put a request in that it's not here, about $300,000, and that also will help increase what I'm still calling our small grant program. I think what's important to highlight that within city government, like a $400,000 small grant program for our city, our size, it's very small. And so, you know, we have to just be very judicious in how we think about the best way to support and allocate funds to nonprofits. So you can see that the total budget that is being requested right now is $10,629,521, and I'm aware that it was presented to you all that originally it was 4.2. Since the last presentation, I believe by Mr. Ellis, our budget director, it was 3.7, and actually, as we're talking today live, that 3.7 probably be a little bit increased. I can tell you that the Community Resource Hub Family Navigation Program is not in this budget. We're hoping and working with the mayor's office and the budget team to find ways to maintain that budget as well. So again, this budget is a work in progress. Lastly, just to share kind of what are some of those highlights. So as I pointed out, most of them, in terms of the community services budget, we do have a lean budget. I want to just elevate that. Is contractual salary and wages based on union wages. Equipment increases. We lease a lot of our equipment. So when the prices go up, we have to pay for it. For example, our copy machines and other equipment. Same thing with the library. Library has a maker station and maker equipment, and the various and some of the contracts we have to put the library system online and check in. Those are all vendors. So when they ask for an increase, we have to pay them to maintain these services. Another one I wanted to highlight, which is about almost 30,000 this year. We provide security to both libraries and the health department. Norwalk, we do have a living wage requirement, so that's 13% this year. That's almost an additional $30,000 in our budget. That wasn't, we weren't prepared for, but again, it's an ordinance and we commit to it. And then the other thing that you may not be aware of is our WIC program, Women and Children, which has been a staple here in the city of Norwalk. It's actually a state-funded program, but there's a cap of how much money we give. And because Norwalk, we have a robust benefits program, this particular grant employees who are part of the grants union, they are entitled to our benefits. And so because the program has a cap, and because they are part of our grants union, if individuals want to access our benefits program, the city does pick up the tab. And so that can vary from year to year and at the employee's discretion. For some years, some employees opt out of the benefits program, so the city saves. But when employees opt into the benefits program, our health insurance and the like, the city has to pick up a tab. So for this year, our WIC employees, many of them, which are 2, have opted in. So that's about an additional another $35,000 that the city which is a part of the increase. And so this was a major, a quick brief overview of our budget. As I pointed out, we are still negotiating and talking with the budget and mayor's office. I am advocating for additional funding for the Family Navigation Program. I'm very hopeful, and we're looking at ways to continue to support the program. And we continue to have those conversations. As most of there's revisions and revisions and revisions till we get to the final. But I'm happy to at least share this is where we are, and this is the budget that we've presented thus far to both the mayor's office and the budget team. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chief Daniels. Are there any questions? Yes, Councilperson Smith.
Yes, thank you, Chair Ayers. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with a couple of things. So, we received the budget recommendations at the right before, in a special meeting before our council meeting on the 6th or 13th rather. And a question that was asked, I believe it was Ms. McMurr who had requested that the council receive the list of positions that were not being funded. And of course, I went through that. And I did look at community services. So I have a couple questions. You were talking about the family navigators, and I'll go back to that. But you also have, so the library positions, those are on hold? You're muted, Lamond.
Absolutely, yes. So there were definitely other positions, as you point out, library and the health department and community services. So those positions are right now on hold. Okay.
And then I want to go back to the community resource specialist, the Family Navigators program, which has been, just such an extraordinary program for our residents. And so you're in negotiations to potentially add those back in.
That is correct. We met with Mr. Livingston today. So there is commitment. As you all know, this is the budget process, and we're identifying, the best way to support that and identify funding. And that could also potentially mean reaching out back to our philanthropic community, which Council Member Smith, you were the chair originally, and I do want to point out that this program has been grant funded for the past 3 years. And and we're hopeful that over time, the city will absorb it into its operational budget. I think most people would say that this program is working. I think the community, the city has been pleased with the service. And so we're definitely will be advocating to maintain that with both city and maybe potential philanthropic funding to maintain this program.
Great. Yeah, that was my recollection when the program was established, when I appear to have frozen. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh,
You're
there.
back. I see you.
Yeah, that I mean, I remember when the entire budget was just your salary. And so it's really incredible to see, how this department has grown under your leadership and the work that you're doing. So I am aware, that there's a special finance committee meeting tomorrow night where they will be voting on the operating budget to move it to the Common Council. So I hope that I'm confident and hopeful that these negotiations will wrap up in plenty of time for that vote, because this is really such important work that we do for the people of Norwalk.
Thank you very much.
Any additional questions from any of the council persons? Okay, I see nobody's hand raised. Okay, again, I would like to echo the sentiments of my colleague. And we really, really hope that we are able to fund the community navigators, as they are a key component to meeting the needs of many of our most vulnerable citizens. And they have been a breath of fresh air, and really have been efficient in their work in the city. Okay, Councilperson Wiggins, you have a question.
Yes, Lamont, I know you said it was $100,000. It was about $100,000 for the small grant program, and you said it was 300. Is that part of the same budget? Would that be
Correct? Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the reason why it wasn't added in the presentation? I'm just curious because I didn't know if it was for
Well, so I've been in meetings today, so I'm fairly confident we'll be able to get that funding. Again, this meeting happened today, and so that's to Council Member Smith's point. Literally within 24 hours, the budget, I suspect, will change in my favor. Let me just put it out there. And so, and there's a historical context. The BET used to do small grants. And so our department, and my department is new, as you know, or have been new, we're not that new anymore. We've advocated to be now the shepherd of that funding. So we're moving that money over from the BET, the Board in Estimation and Taxation, so that I will be able now to facilitate that funding.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Councilperson Murray, I thought I saw your hand up.
Actually, Chief Daniels answered my question, so I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Daniels, for your present. I just want to say, Chief Daniels, you do a great job with, a budget that I think actually should be much larger. Health is so important to who we are as a society. It's such a bigger priority to me than it's showing in the budget. When we look at seniors and the need for palliative care, when we look at the need for midwifery and doulas and maternal care in our health centers, when we look at the mental health services people need, it's the number one thing that actually dictates how we communicate as a community. And you do a lot on the smallest budget. You do it with a lot of passion. You inspire me when I see you in meetings with your smiling face and your energy and your staff. In this budget season, we have a tough budget season. I wish I had control to give you more, but I think the work you do deserves so much more. It's important to me what we do in this budget. And I respect what you do, and thank you for what you do. And I will take all of Councilmember Smith's comments tomorrow when we vote on our finance meeting into consideration. But that's all I wanted to say, is I appreciate all the information and the inspiration that you put into this work.
Thank you.
Are there any other persons with questions? Any other persons with questions? Okay, so when me and the chief spoke, I thought it was very, very important for this committee to understand the financial position or the ask of this department. I have said it publicly. I will continue to say it. This department is not funded correctly. My colleague, Ms. Murray's kind of touched on that with her last remarks. So for those of my good colleagues on finance, please make sure you're understanding the whole scope of the work of the department and do your due diligence on tomorrow night before it comes to all of us. Okay, I see another hand. Councilperson Wiggins.
Just thinking about what you just said, Nikki, on the finance committee. So all of this stuff is gonna be, because I'm actually on that committee, is gonna be presented, but is it gonna be presented as a line item, or is it gonna be presented how it was presented today, because it's the whole budget?
Normally it is presented how we saw it last week with the twerk. So you'll see fluctuations in the columns of the numbers, but you will not see the line item and you will not see the the breakdown. That's why I thought it was prudent for this committee to understand the ask of this department, because you do not see that and you don't know unless information is given to you in a tangible manner. So that's why I thought it was important for this type of meeting, and that's why we didn't have any other reports. I thought this was very important during our budget season. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I have no other business. Chief, do you have any other business?
No, I really do, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you. I mean, and I recognize, you know, these are challenging times, and thank you all for your support. And just thank you for the opportunity to share. Again, I'm optimistic. I've been in meetings pretty much all day today around the budget. I think, you know, advocating for some of you know, I can't get everything I want, so that's the negotiating compromise. But we are advocating strong, at least for this year, the 3 family navigation staff, and very hopeful, you know, the mayor's office and again, the budget team is really taking that very seriously and really being creative, both from a public-private partnership. And so remain optimistic that we'll be able to get that to the finish line. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. And just for the members that are on the finance committee, to bring light to what was asked of us in public participation, that the budget is not on the website for the public to see. Hopefully it will get on the website tomorrow. Barbara, I saw that you unmuted.
Yeah, I already reached out to our chief of staff to point that out.
Thank you. I was going to do that once I got off, but you beat me, so thank you very much. But particularly those people who are on finance, it would help you just to make sure that that information is public prior to your meeting. Okay, so we are going to adjourn tonight. I thank you so much. This is a short meeting. It's normally not this short, 36 minutes. Will go in the record books. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Melissa. All in favor? Okay, good night all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.